One thing I am so excited to share with you guys is that I'm going to start a series called ENDometriosis. It's only going to be a few episodes long, and I may end up extending it once the first group are finished. But it's going to go through the ins and outs of endo with my life, what has helped me, the research that I've done. I'm going to just give you guys every little ounce of everything that has happened the past few years so that it would hopefully help you guys or somebody you know that's been suffering from this disease. The first episode is going to be my past with this disease. I want to say I was 16 or 17. And I started to get really bad pains in my abdomen, and I didn't know what it was. I had gone to the ER eventually, and they said it was appendicitis, but then the test came back negative for appendicitis. My appendix was perfect, apparently. Then I started to see an OBGYN, and she said, oh, you just have really bad irregular periods, and you get cramping all the time. It's called Mittelschmerz. Mittelschmerz means the middle, and Schmerz was a doctor that actually discovered that condition. Well, it's saying that you get terrible period cramps in the middle of the month when you're ovulating and when you're not ovulating. So it's pretty much cramping all the time. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Like, this is explaining it. Well, there came a month where I got terrible pains to the point where I think I can remember staying home like every other day. I didn't want to go anywhere, I couldn't do anything. It hurt to move. I had propped up pillows on my bed on the ground just to feel better because I felt like I just had to sit up like this and not like do anything. Fast forward a few years and I'm in the military. I'm at my first base at Forewarning Air Force Base. I was in a class. We were getting released for lunch or something, and I got this horrible pain and I stood up super fast. And I was grabbing my stomach and I was like, oh my god, what is that? And then all of a sudden I felt this rush of warmth and then wetness. And I looked down and the inside of my ABUs were getting soaked. And then there were spots of blood that were pulling through as well. And I was like, holy shit, like I'm in a classroom full of people, this is so embarrassing. And then eventually they told me to go to the ER. At the ER, they gave me pain meds for the pain that I was experiencing. It was terrible, like stabbing and ripping pains. It was horrible. I remember I'd taken my pants in and they were soaked in like some kind of fluid and blood. And of course I was freaking out because I'm like, what the fuck is this, you know? They started doing a ton of tests, and that's when they found out that I had ovarian and uterine cysts. Well, I was like, okay, maybe that explains it, you know? I started to experience that stabbing and ripping pain more frequently. I didn't want to eat, I'd be bloated. Sometimes I would have as little as like a protein shake a day. Like all of the symptoms possible that you can think of for pretty much anything. Well, I would just lay in bed, like I wouldn't do anything at all. I started doing some research, and of course I found multiple different things that it could be, because Google fucking lies to you and just tells you that you have cancer of the prostate, which women don't even have. Like, it's crazy stuff. So finally got myself off Google. I started to go into my private care physician on base. Well, I got told, I want to say at least 8 times, that I was faking the pain, that it was my period, that maybe I was pregnant and didn't know it, that I had irregular periods, that I needed to switch my birth control, that I was faking it, anything that was the opposite of helpful. And as frustrated as I got, I finally got to the level of me like breaking down in front of my doctor and saying, I need you to hear me out. I need help. I can't go through this pain anymore. During a PT test, I had the same issue with fluid and blood on one of the portions. I had taken a break and I had gone to the bathroom. I came back, and upon getting ready, I sat up and immediately got that rush again. Fluid, blood everywhere, in front of everybody, and of course also in front of a mirror. So not only was it embarrassing and painful, but everybody in that gym could see. I was in shorts, I was in PT shorts. It looks like I peed myself, but there was also blood running down my legs. Like, I'm sorry if that's disturbing for you guys to hear, but I'm trying to be as real as possible. The lady that was running the PT test once again looked at me and told me that I was probably just on my period and trying to get out of the test. That's when I just completely broke down. Like, broke down everything. I remember calling someone, I can't even remember if it was my Mimi or my mom, and just crying. I was so tired of hearing that I was faking it. I was so tired of hearing that I was just trying to get out of things, that I was one of those airmen. And to be told that over and over again instead of someone to help you, even a female sergeant that was in charge had no belief in me, no support in me. Like, that hit hard. I went into the doctor and I sat down. He walked in the room, looked at me and said, "So you're trying to get out of a PT test, aren't we?" Signed a piece of paper, said, "What's wrong with you?" I told him that I had an issue, I wasn't sure what it was, but that I was in a lot of pain and that I had an issue like this that had happened earlier that year. He literally got up while I was speaking and walked out of the room. I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" So of course I start crying more because I'm embarrassed. I was a little airman, like I was 19 years old. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, what? Like, what do I do to deserve this? Like, why doesn't anyone actually take the time to fucking listen to me? So then he comes back into the room, I want to say about 5 or 6 minutes later, hands me a slip of paper and says, "Be back at this time for an actual exam, and then we'll decide if this PT test can be waived or not." And I was like, "Well, honestly, sir, I can't wait a couple days. I really want to figure out what's going on right now. Like, I'm in a lot of pain. I think maybe a cyst had ruptured again." And he goes, "I think you would know if a cyst had ruptured." I was like, I'm pretty sure that's the pain that I felt. I really still get so heated, like, telling this story and upset. No one supports you. No one believes you simply because they can't fully see it. It's ridiculous. So from there, I remember going home and again, not eating, just laying in my bath. I was so upset. I tried to go to bed, and I remember just being in so much pain, like excruciating pain. So, and I was still bleeding. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not supposed to be on my period. Like, I just had my period. I'm off of it. Well, tampon in, it started to hurt even worse. Like, maybe some of you have experienced this where your pelvic bone literally hurts. Like, my entire lower half hurt. I felt like every time I did move, I got that ripping feeling inside. And I was like, I cannot take this anymore. I called the nurse hotline. They let me go to the hospital. I went again. They pumped me full of fucking morphine or whatever painkiller they gave me. So, of course, I was pretty much numb. And they came back and they're like, well, your tests are still the same. You know, we see that you have cysts and maybe some lesions or... Okay, like, so is that what's causing me to bleed? And they're like, well, we think it might have been another cyst. Okay, well, how about no more thinking, no more guessing? Like, you guys are the professionals. You guys need to tell my 19-year-old ass what the fuck's going on. Like, after leaving the hospital, of course, I got my Advil and Tylenol. I started to take those, and it got to the point where it just didn't work anymore. I felt that constant pain. I was constantly uncomfortable, constantly, I don't want to say depressed, but my mood swings were more so on the low side. I was more upset and in pain and depressed more than I was like happy or energetic, if that makes sense. It really started to take a toll just on my everyday life. And it was very frustrating, and with all the research I did do, it didn't really show me what I needed to know because I still didn't understand fully what was going on. It just got worse and worse and worse, and fast forward a few more months, that's when I actually finally got a good primary care physician on base, and he ended up letting me see an OBGYN. So with that being said, this is the end of episode 1. I hope that maybe I've connected or related to you in some way, and I really hope that if you have endo, PCOS, ovarian, uterine, tubular cysts, or any other silent disease affecting our female organ systems, that you will keep watching, because this isn't just going to be something that is going to help or connect with endometriosis. This is something that's going to connect with all silent diseases, and it's something that I take very seriously and I'm very passionate about learning and hopefully one day ending. So please, if you enjoyed this, reach out to me in the comments section below. On Instagram, my Instagram is in the description box at the bottom, and any other way you can email me. Please reach out. I would love to connect with you guys. I would love to talk to you. I would love to hear your stories. I hope that you've enjoyed mine so far, and there's a lot to come. So I love you guys, and stay strong.